These are the fantasy football players you guys need to pick up before week 11. This is my favorite video to make every single week, guys. Look, I'm dead broke. I haven't had any FAAB since like the preseasons. I got to be creative, man. I got to be hitting the waiver wire during office hours. I got to be hitting, Sunday morning random players that I'm picking up and hoping that they're better, that they pop off in the week, because there's nothing better than when you pick up a player for free and then on Sunday they pop off. You look, man, you got them on your team, dude. It's the best feeling. So we're going to talk quickly, guys, about next week. We got bye weeks. Denver Broncos, which means Bo Nix, Sutton, Franklin, Harvey, Dobbins. I mean, Dobbins might be out regardless. The Chargers are also on bye. We got Herbert, Vidal, Ladd, QJ, Keenan, and Orande. So actually quite a lot of pieces there for the Chargers. You're probably relying on Vidal, Ladd, Orande, man. So Miami Dolphins, probably only Achane and Waddle, I imagine, then Commanders as well. It's only really going to be Debo. Maybe you're going to spot start Mariota this week. Like I might have to. All right, man. So we're going to start with running backs, and it's really just handcuffs, guys. This is the point of the season where you just want to make sure you're picking up all of your handcuffs. Blake Corum, probably one of the most valuable ones because he's getting like actual work behind Kyron. It's a good matchup this week. There's a chance that he sees a little bit more work than usual. I did see a report that the Seahawks are going to try to force the run game to beat them in this one. So there's a chance that Corum and Kyron are pretty decent starts. Make sure you guys pick up all your handcuffs. In my opinion, I like to pick up the guys that I have. Like I like to get the handcuffs of the guys that I have. I just sleep better at night knowing that if my guy goes down, I'm not absolutely cucked and I don't have anybody to start. So make sure you guys pick up your handcuffs. But if you're in the business of picking up lottery tickets and you want to get random handcuffs for random teams, just be intuitive, right? Like get the dudes that are on good offenses and good systems where if they were to step into the role, they'd be like a 3-down back, right? Trevion Henderson probably is a perfect example of that. Last night, he was a handcuff he was a handcuff behind like 3 different players, but once he steps into the role, absolutely fantastic, 30 fantasy points. So all right, we got some quarterbacks, man. There's really not a lot, dude. If you guys look at the Week 12 matchups, it's brutal, dude. Everybody has essentially a bad matchup. But, I was looking at the bottom of the barrel, and I scraped a couple names for you guys. Justin Fields playing the Ravens. Look, recommending Justin Fields. I don't recommend it very often. And the Ravens defense has actually been better, especially against the run. So there's a chance here that Justin Fields busts. I mean, there's a huge chance he busts anytime he's on a football field. But against the Ravens, I guess it might be doable. I mean, he's the only one who really constitutes a streamer. Bryce Young gets the 49ers. Again, their defense is banged up, not very good. Bryce Young also isn't very good and is essentially banged up as well. It's a decent start. Michael Penix at the Saints. Saints are just not a very good defense in general. They've actually shown up a couple of games. Like they actually shut down Bryce Young, but for the most part, you can probably produce on them. And, Michael Penix, you can do worse than him. At the end of the day, he has good weapons, right? Next, we got the wide receivers, guys. And look, man, Luther Burden is at the top of this list. I've been saying to stash this guy for a couple weeks, and I think it is upon us, dude. The time is nigh. The coaching staff, Ben Johnson specifically, did say that Luther Burden deserves more touches. He's earned it. He's looked great. Caleb Williams actually has his highest QBR when throwing to Luther Burden. He's looked fantastic on the field as well. I don't know if guys just go to Twitter, go to YouTube, type in Luther Burden highlights this season. He doesn't have a lot, but he is probably, dude, this is going to sound crazy. It's super hyperbolic. He might be their best wide receiver. Like yards after the catch, just straight up like skill, talent-wise. Luther Burden is absolutely him, man. If you can grab him in Dynasty, I'd definitely consider it because I do think he's just going to replace DJ Moore next season. And quickly looking at the game log, we know what he did in week 3. That was against Dallas, but big play potential. He's a burner, dude. He's somebody who's fast and big and strong. He went 3 for 101 and a touchdown. And then we see one more thing, man. Very important. The most snaps he played on the season was in week 10 against the Giants. Goes 3 for 51. 3 for 51 is actually pretty decent, man. Like I would have taken that shit over fucking bitch ass Josh Downs. So I don't know, man. I'm just excited. If he can get up to like 60%, because Olamide Zaccheaus had a bunch of drops in the last game. He just like let the team down. I know they won the game, but he was making bad plays. He's not very special. He's not really a guy that's going to like explode or create after the catch. So I do think that there's a chance the team just looks Luther Burden's way rest of the season, that he just supplants Olamide Zaccheaus. That's the dream, right? That's the dream, that he supplants Zaccheaus and then also gets put into like 2 wide receiver sets when DJ Moore needs a breather, or if DJ Moore were to get injured, it's super wheels up, right? But Luther Burden is definitely my favorite pickup in the stash, especially this week, guys. With the hype, dude, the coaching staff, Ben Johnson saying that he deserves more work. If he was already at about 50% snap percent, and then they said he needs more work, I don't know. I'm just super excited about that. Jayden Reed, guys, look at your waiver wire for Jayden Reed. He has a collarbone and foot injury, obviously. He's been working off to the side at practice. So on Thursday, he was actually doing a little bit of side work. So just have a look. If you have an IR spot, pick up Jayden Reed, throw him in your IR. Let's just be honest about it, man. He's their best wide receiver. In week 1, only played 38% of the snaps. He's like a slot-only wide receiver. which is kind of bad for the Packers because they want to run the ball a lot. So they usually have tight ends in blocking. But 3 catches, 45 and a touchdown, had 12 fantasy points. In week 2, he gets injured on a touchdown grab. Like he catches it in the end zone and then he falls, doesn't complete the catch, gets injured on that. So I think Jayden Reed probably could have had like a sneakily really good season if he stayed healthy. And if he's available, which, he's probably not in a lot of leagues. I mean, he's only rostered in 41% of leagues. So, 30, or what is that? I don't do public math. 59% of leagues where he's not rostered. If you have an IR spot, there's probably no other player I'd rather have than him. Next, we got Tyler Lockett, 33-year-old old man Tyler Lockett. I can't believe he's even in this video, but 57% of snaps. He goes 6 targets, 5 for 44. At the end of the day, the other wide receivers for the Raiders are just bad. Like, I'll even include Trey Tucker in that. Trey Tucker had like one good game, but other than that, everybody else sucks, dude. Alec Bachman, Deontay Thornton, Jack Besh, all these guys are just the guys. They're probably not going to be on NFL rosters soon. And Tyler Lockett, dude, from essentially his couch, comes in and is instantly the wide receiver 2. I mean, you could even say he was the wide receiver 1, right? Because Trey Tucker had less fantasy points. Trey Tucker did have a touchdown taken off the board because of a penalty, but Tyler Lockett is going to be the wide receiver 2. And he's got the rapport with Geno Smith. He already had the 6 targets. If he can just build on that, they get Dallas this week. So it's disgusting, but I would pick him up. Then we got Jalen Coker. Let me just make sure. Highest snaps of the season, 75%. Xavier Legette is bad. That's essentially the whole idea here. He played the most snaps that he's played. He was on IR for a lot of the season, came back, and they've been ramping him up. The team did say before last week that we want to get him more involved in the offense. We really want to increase his workload. And we saw it, right? 75% of snaps. He goes 3 for 21. Now, Jalen Coker is probably not going to win you a league. Right. This is a team that wants to run the ball. It's Rico Dowdle's world. We all just live in it. But there's a chance that he's kind of like a little sneaky PPR play down the stretch in good matchups, right? In games that they're just obviously losing, they can't run the ball. The Rams game is a good one there, right? Tampa Bay and Seattle could be good ones where you're absolutely desperate. You're in the fantasy playoffs. All of your players are injured. You throw in Jalen Coker. He pops up for like 16 fantasy points because he gets like a random touchdown. Last couple names, I have some tight ends for you guys. Brenton Strange is the first one. Also on IR, came back to practice. Practice window has been opened up. I believe the Jaguars were 4-1 through the first 5 weeks, and Brenton Strange was absolutely pivotal to that, man. I'm not saying it's all because of him, that ever since he's been gone, they've been bad. I mean, they've been playing some tough opponents, let's be honest. Seattle, Rams, Houston. I understand why they've been bad. I don't think it's all because of Brenton Strange, but he's a pretty important piece on this team. I mean, anytime you have a guy that's getting like 6 targets a game, they are pretty valuable to the team and to what the team wants to do. He was a safety valve underneath, somebody that Trevor Lawrence was looking at very often, right? They tried to move like Brian Thomas into that role after Brenton went down, and it just did not work. They've then been using Parker Washington. I think Brenton Strange slots back into that like safety valve role. So if you're like me and you're down horrendous at tight end and you're currently starting like a Theo Johnson, why don't you pick up Brenton Strange, dude? Throw him in your IR because I don't think he's going to be activated this week. And if he is activated this week, maybe you don't hold him, but I do think like there's enough upside here where, it was a good offense. The first 5 weeks of the season, this was a pretty decent offense, an offense that we wanted pieces of. And I think Brenton Strange comes back and this team's kind of starving for reliable pass catching options. So he's somebody that I really like. And speaking of liking things, we got Isaiah Likely, man. Isaiah Likely has been playing about 56 or 60% of the snaps since he returned. He's done fuck all. Right. Week 9 was the only one where he goes 3 for 60, gets a couple of nice catches for big chunk gains. But outside of that, he's essentially useless. I just want to point you guys' attention to the fact that Rashad Bateman is going to be out for a while. Rashad Bateman is a guy who gets like a couple targets a game. He gets some end zone looks, right? So that really opens up things here where I do think you can see a combination of Likely, Flowers, maybe even Mark Andrews kept getting a couple more targets. And again, if you're down bad at tight end, I want a guy who's got some upside, right? Because Isaiah Likely does have some upside. Maybe he gets a little bit more involved. Maybe he can get a couple more catches. Maybe he can get a couple touchdowns finally. And then if something were to happen to Mark Andrews, he's essentially like a handcuff tight end as well. And if we're talking about super deep leagues with like deep benches where you can just throw random guys on your bench, I like Likely. Next, let's just talk quickly, guys, about some drop candidates. We're going to look through this trending list here. Davis, you can drop him. Ja'Cory Krosky, I would personally keep him just for this Miami game. Let's see what happens. Chris Rodriguez might not play. I believe he's still injured. He's practicing in full. So Chris Rodriguez is going to be back. He's probably going to be the starter. But, maybe Ja'Cory Krosky still has a tiny bit of juice left. Sean Tucker, don't drop him. Devin Singletary, don't drop him. You want to make sure you have running backs behind inefficient backs. Rashad White's been pretty inefficient. Bucky Irving is not back yet. Kyle Monangai, man, I think we should probably keep him. Unfortunately, he just gave the backfield right back to Swift. It's not going to be a 50-50 split like they said it might be. But things can change, right? It could be that in the future it is. Against the Giants, that would have been the game, right? Where we really wanted to see a 50-50 split there, but we didn't see it. If you're really down bad, you can probably drop him as long as Swift is healthy. Jordan Mason is one I've been getting a lot of questions about. I think you can probably drop him if there are better options, but at the end of the day, he's a very valuable handcuff because we do know Aaron Jones. We just know that Aaron Jones gets injured so often. Ty Johnson, definitely droppable. Tank Bigsby, I think, is probably droppable. We thought he took over the RB2 role, but it was Will Shipley. Right, Will Shipley came back and he was right back into that RB2 role. So this is a weird one, right? Like you pick up Tank, it might be Shipley. You pick up Shipley, it could be Tank if Saquon were to go down. So that's a tough one. It could be a situation where it's like Justice Hill, where Shipley is the Justice Hill and his role won't change and it'll be Tank that takes the early down stuff. That's how I imagine it going, but you just never know. Michael Carter, definitely droppable. He was on the practice squad, then came back, played only 11% of snaps. There's no reason to have Michael Carter. Wide receivers, a lot of people are dropping DK. I want to see what happens in this game. Let's see the snap share now that Ridley might be back because, he could find himself in a full-time role. I know it's the worst offense in the NFL, but he could find himself in a full-time role. Darnell Mooney was dropped in a couple leagues. I picked him up today in one of my leagues. Listen, at the end of the day, 8 targets. I know he was bad, but we know Darnell Mooney was good, right? Last year, he was good. He had a broken collarbone in the preseason, so I think he's been dealing with that. Let's just see what happens, man. The team did say they want to improve the rapport between Michael Penix and Darnell Mooney, so that was a very recent report that I saw. So let's see what happens, man. At the end of the day, like he's a talented wide receiver. He is the downfield stretcher, so I think Darnell Mooney is somebody that if he's dropped, I'd pick him up if you can have him on your team just to see what happens. Matthew Golden is somebody where I would drop him just out of rage, out of anger, because I had so many high hopes. I had so much high hopes for him. But Josh Downs, I personally dropped him. Nobody picked him up after I dropped him. At the end of the day, dude, he's a part-time player. And when he is in the game, it seems like he's not the first read. He's not even the second read a lot of the time. So I think Josh Downs coming out of the bye, going up against Kansas City, then Houston, then Jacksonville, then Seattle. It's just not a great matchup. It's not a great schedule, rather. So I think Josh Downs is probably droppable at this point. That does it, guys, for the video. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for giving me your time. I truly, genuinely appreciate it. If you guys need questions on sit starts, trade advice, waiver wire pickups, stashes, any of that stuff, there will be a Discord link down below. Make sure you guys join that, dude. It's a sick-ass community. It's growing. We're talking ball every single day. There's a lot of sharps in the Discord, man. A lot of people giving really good advice, and it's community-driven. So, you're going to get advice from everyone, not just myself. So shout out to the Discord. Shout out to everybody who watches the videos. Thank you guys for watching it. A like is the best way to show support. And I'll catch you guys on Sunday, man. We're going to do a Sunday live stream yet again. Sorry I couldn't do it last weekend, but I'll catch you guys this Sunday, and I'll catch you guys in the next video as well. Peace.